Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Hello, everyone. Namaskar. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, very happy to see you all again, back to screen. It was a great time to see you all, to meet you all in person. It was like just very fast we completed our week. Maybe it would be a longer week for all of us. It was a great time. I believe it was amazing for all of us. Still, we are missing all of you who left from India back to your place, and still a couple of people are here. And I can see many are together with Deborah's room and with Cindy's, with Corey's, that all are there together. Wow, sitting together, joining this event together. Nice, great. So, good. Yeah, Camille, Diego, nice to see you all together. Wonderful. Now, very soon, we will share a link of Google Drive, where we will have all the recordings from this education week. There are so many different videos, so many. It's such a huge data, nearly 450 gigabyte. And so it's difficult to upload to this portal. We are uploading on the Google Drive. It also takes a lot of time. Step by step, we are doing it. For now, all the videos are unedited as it is. We are uploading, putting there date-wise, session-wise, subject-wise. So maybe you all can review it. People all who were here, maybe for them it's as a memory again. And for others, maybe it's something you might have missed it because the time difference, or some people were there online also, but others can have the video link. And in future, when time permits, we will have this session online. We will take these sessions like a pulse reading and other things which we had here in person, that we will try to talk through online. So other also will get a chance. Everyone will get a chance to learn this technique, not only by watching the videos, but in person, not in person, but live in Zoom class. We will organize. We will schedule this subject somewhere. Now moving to the another part of basics of Ayurveda. Basics of Siddhaveda, basic of ancient secrets. Most of the time, you may have seen the people are coming to us with the curiosity to make some changes in their diet and lifestyle. They want to begin with something. Many times they come, oh, I have heard something about Ayurveda. What is that? I want to be healthy. I want to stay healthy. What is required to do? I am Vata Pitta, I am Pitta Vata, I am Kapha, I am Vata person. What kind of the diet is for me? What kind of the lifestyle for me? What do you advise? What do you recommend to have better health for me for a longer time? Many times people are coming with their concern. Today and onwards, we will have next couple of sessions on this part: diet, home remedies, and lifestyle on various health challenges, various health conditions. But before that, we will have a general idea about the food and lifestyle. What are the concepts behind it? What Ayurveda, Siddhaveda, ancient secret says about the food and lifestyle? What is the specific diet, home remedy, and lifestyle for the Vata people? What is for Pitta people? What is for Kapha people? Then we will move to the next, more specific disease-wise, more specific health challenges-wise, more specific condition-wise. Here we will share lots of information. It's for understanding, education, knowledge. Because you all are practitioners today and tomorrow. You need to know everything. You need to do everything. What is good, what is not good, which home remedy works, which not, which lifestyle is good, which not. But when you recommend any of this information to your clients, any of your friend contacts who need this information, you think that this person has, suppose that diabetes, you want to suggest something about the diabetes, start with one or two things, not to give all as it is full information. It's too many, too much. It's so much stress. Always to begin and to inspire person with only one or two changes to make it. And then when he or she will experience some positive change, they will be motivated by their own to do more and more. So today and tomorrow and the next on all sessions, we will understand from Dr. Komal about all different diet, lifestyle and home remedies. But to start, always, anytime when you recommend, begin with a few things. I invite Dr. Komal, please start with prayers like always.
Yes. Namaskar and good evening, everyone. So it's very nice that we are meeting again, and we will start with our recitation of the Dhanvantari Stavan. So I will start the recitation. Dhanvantare garuchi dhanvantare ritaru dhanvantari bhavasudha भान्वन्तरावसतमन्वन्तराधिकृत तन्वन्तरौषधनिधे धन्वन्तरङ्गशुभु धन्वन्तमादिषु अवितन्वमाब्दितनया सुन्वन्तकात्मरुद तन्वन्तरावयव तन्वन्तरात्रिजलधौ ॐ चन्द्रौगकार्तिममृतात्मकरै जगन्ति सञ्जीवयन्तममितात्मसुखं परेशम् ज्ञानं सुधाकलशमेव च सन्दधानं शीतांशुमण्डलगतं स्मरतात्मसंस्थान् अज्ञानदुःखभयरोगमहाविषाणि योगो यमाशु विनिहन्ति सुखं च दत्यात् यन्मादविभ्रमहर परतश्च सान्द्र स्वानन्दमेव पदमापयति स्म नित्यम् ॐ श्रीधन्वन्तरये नमः. Yes. So with this recitation, I bow down in front of Pankaj sir, the Siddhaveda lineage, Baba Ramdas ji, all the great masters, and my Guru Sadguru Vena Bharti Maharaj. And with this, we will start our today's session, which is about food and lifestyle. And as sir has explained, that food is something that is a basic necessity of our life, which is required not only for human beings, but for all the living creatures on this earth. Food is the main thing on which everybody survives. So we have to understand what are the principles of dietetics, and especially the ancient dietetics, which have a lot to offer. So in today's session, this is the part 1 session, and what we are going to learn is the principles of Ayurveda and Siddhaveda dietetics, diet for imbalanced Vata dosh, diet for imbalanced Pitta dosh, diet for imbalanced Kapha dosh, the lifestyle, diet plan and home remedy for diabetes and also for hypertension. So in this session, we are going to learn and start with the important principles of dietetics. Next slide, please. Yes. Now here, before going to the principles, we have to understand what is the importance of food. And this Sanskrit verse has been explained by Acharya Charaka in Charaka Samhita. So this Sanskrit verse is like Pranaha pranabhutanam annam loko vidhavati varna prasada sausvaryam jivitam pratibhasukham. So what is the meaning of this Sanskrit verse? Food. Food is the prana, that is life or vital breath of all human beings, and it is the basic necessity for survival of all living creatures. And the signs of well-being, like here in the slide we see the complexion of the skin, cheerfulness, the happiness, good voice, life, intellect are all dependent on food. So food, we derive all the signs of well-being from the food, the healthy food. Next slide, please. And again, as we have learned in all our sessions, that any imbalance in the dosha, dhatu or mala, it leads to the formation of disorders or pathology formation, which leads to the disorders. So in the starting phase, many illnesses can be prevented by following the healthy dietary and lifestyle patterns. And if we have studied about samadosha, samagni, samadhatu, malakriya, the definition of health, which says that the balanced state of the dosh, the dhatu and mala, it leads to the health of the individual. And how we can maintain that health? The main key is healthy food and the combination of the support of herbal formulas along with the healthy food items and lifestyle can give us perfect health. Next slide, please. So again, as we have studied in the earlier sessions also, there is imbalance of dosh, dhatu and mala. And how this imbalance occurs? When somebody is following the unhealthy diets, and unhealthy diets we are going to study in detail, but here we see that like excessive consumption of soft drinks, fast food, refined grains, excessive consumption, they are main contributors to conditions like heart disease, diabetes, obesity and many more disorders, and not following the right kind of lifestyle also. Next slide, please. Now here we actually start with the principles of dietetics. Another Sanskrit verse. Till now, you all must have got used to the Sanskrit verses. So here is another Sanskrit verse, which is Matra Vaddi Ashanam Ashitam Anupahatya Prakrutim Balavarna Sukhayusha Yojayati Upayoktaram Avashyam Iti. The meaning of this is that when food is taken in proper quantity, it provides strength to the body as well as the mind, good complexion, and a happy life to the person. So when we studied our first session, we saw that the word ayu, it has 4 meanings. So we want sukha ayu, that is the happy life, and hita ayu, that is the beneficial life. So in order to have a happy life and a beneficial life, we should follow the principles of dietetics, and which we are going to start with in this today's session. Next slide, please. Yes, again, ahara matra punah agni balapekshini. Now, one should consume the right quantity of food. But then what is the right quantity of food? So, the right quantity of food depends upon the power of our digestive system, or that we call as Agni, or digestive fire. So, in Ayurveda, every individual has a different digestive fire. That is why the right quantity of food will vary from individual to individual. So we have to assess and examine the digestive fire of that individual, and then accordingly we will know what is the right quantity of food for that particular individual. And how to decide that we are going to study in the series of sessions in the later sessions. So the proper quantity of food is the amount of food that gets digested. Now suppose someone has taken one meal, and then when should he take the next meal? The next meal should be taken when the previous meal has been digested, as well as the person feels hungry. So previous meal has been digested, the person is now feeling light, and also there is the urge of hunger. That is the right time to consume food. And also it should not disturb the balanced state of the dosha, dhatus and malas, which means it should not disturb the balanced state of health. Next slide. Now the right amount of food. So we do not have a standard amount of food. This is the standard that everyone should take. Why? Because it depends upon the digestive fire. So we have to assess the digestive fire, that is the Agni, and then the digestive power will, according to the digestive fire, we will decide what is the right amount of food for that particular person, which can be easily digested. So like when we light fire in the nature also, if we have to light a fire, we need to provide proper fuel to the fire. Then only the fire will light and it will last for a longer time. Likewise, in the body, in the stomach, we have digestive fire. And what is the fuel for the digestive fire? It is the healthy food that should be provided in the right amount. Otherwise, the digestive fire may not last, or it may not be activated. So here in the column, we see the food type and the consumption level of those foods. Like if it is a heavy to digest food, like for example, oily food or non-vegetarian food or sweets, we all know that they are heavy to digest. They are guru. So it should only be eaten until we are half full, half stomach. It should not be eaten full stomach. And even if it is light to digest food, and here example we can see the very famous food item which everybody knows, moong beans and millets. Even if they are light, they should also be eaten. They should not be overeaten because they are light. So these are the principles that we have to follow. Next slide, please. Yes. Now how will we decide how much to eat? So here we see Trividha Kukshi. Kukshi means stomach and Trividha means 3 portions. So now whenever we are consuming food, we have to divide our stomach into 3 parts. Okay, make 3 portions of the stomach, and then we have to decide 1 portion should be for the solid food items, 1 portion for the liquid food items, and 1 portion should be kept free. It should be vacant. So we have to, whenever we take food, our food comprises of solid as well as liquid food items. So 1 part of the stomach solid, 1 part liquid, and the 3rd part should be kept empty. That means we have to eat half stomach. It should not be like full stomach. And why we have to keep the 3rd part vacant? The 3rd part should be vacant for the free movement of the 3 doshas. the Vata, Pitta and Kapha dosh, for the free movement of the doshas, we have to keep the third part vacant. So while we are consuming food, this is the main principle that we have to follow, which is the Trividha Kukshi, 3 parts of stomach, 1 part solid, 1 part liquid, and the third part that should be kept vacant. Why? For the free movement of the 3 doshas. If someone eats all the 3 parts, if someone is getting full, taking the food and all the 3 parts are becoming full, so what will happen? The person may suffer from digestive problems. Why? Because the Vata, Pitta and Kapha, they don't have any space to move, and it will lead to digestive problems or some other disorders. So this thing we have to keep in mind. This is the first principle. Next slide. Now here is a case study of Charvi Sanghavi. So she weighed 96 kgs when she came first to Ayushakti, and she followed many diet trends, and she lost a few kgs, but again she was gaining the weight and she wanted to lose weight. So when her history was reviewed, detailed case history was taken, it was seen in her case that the diet, whatever she was taking, was healthy, but the quantity of food was not right. So here we have to understand that even if we are taking healthy food, but we have to also take it in the right quantity. So in her case, she was not taking the right quantity of food. She was having, all food items full stomach. Then the third portion of the stomach was not kept empty. And then it created amadosh, that is toxins in her body. And then she was advised to do detox to remove the toxins from her body. And she was given a right diet plan according to the principles of dietetics and the right quantity of food according to her digestive fire. And after that, she lost 8 kgs in the first month. And after that, after 4 months, she lost, after 4 months, her weight was 69 kgs. So she maintained the healthy diet pattern and food and lifestyle advice, what she was prescribed from, and then she achieved this. So in her case, we have to understand here, only healthy food is not sufficient. We also have to have proper knowledge about the right quantity of food for us, because it varies from individual to individual. So this is a very nice case study. Next slide, please. Now again, when we say food, what is the one thing that comes in our mind? So when we say food, it's all about sweet food, sour food, salty food, the astringent food, bitter food, or pungent food. That means food is made up of what? It is made up of the 6 tastes, which we call as rasa. Rasa means taste. And there are how many tastes? Now, I think till now everybody knows that there are 6 types of tastes, which are in the slide. You can see sweet, that is madhur, sour, that is amla, salty, that is lavan, pungent, that is katu, astringent, that is kashaya, bitter, that is tikta. And food, when we say food, what is food? Food is about these 6 rasas. And we have to have a balance of all these 6 tastes in our food. So Ayurveda and Siddha Ved, what it says, our daily food, it should comprise all the 6 tastes. So that we are going to see how much, which taste should be there in what quantity, and that in the later sessions. Next slide, please. Now, another principle is about the 8 specific factors of dietetics. Now again, whenever we are prescribing a diet, we are deciding a diet for ourselves or for other people, we have to take into consideration these 8 specific factors of dietetics, which are again mentioned by Acharya Charak in Charaka Samhita. So, first factor is Prakriti. Here Prakriti means the nature or the properties of the food items. As we know, the food items have different properties, like some are heavy, some are light, some are dry, some are unctuous, some may be cold, some may be hot, like that. So first thing is we have to understand what is the natural property of that food item. So first thing, what we will see, what is the natural property of the food item in terms of the qualities, heavy, light, dry, unctuous, hot, cold, and so on. Then the second point is, the second factor is karana. Karana means the processing of the food items. So as we all know, food is always, we enjoy cooked food. In a Siddha Veda or Ayurveda, we always say that don't avoid eating raw food. So we process the food, we do some kind of processing on the food items with the help of fire, and then only we eat the food items. So now I remember when I was learning Ayurveda, so one of our very good teachers, she said that if you want to become a very good Vaidya, you should also be a very good cook. You should know how to cook, because when we are deciding about diet, we also should know the principles of cooking. Because as we know, when the food is processed, if we fry something in oil, it will become heavy. If same food is boiled or steamed, it may become light. So processing changes the properties of food items. So the knowledge of cooking is also very essential to understand the factors of dietetics. So second factor is how the food is cooked. That will also change the qualities. Third one, next slide. Third one is sanyoga, that is combination of the food items. So when different food combine in our food, we have certain, there is a carbohydrates, there is a protein, there is a fat, and there is a combination of all the things. So the combination of food exhibits new distinctive characteristics to the food items. And like we know, a simple thing, which I think everybody must be knowing, that milk and fish, we do not combine it. It is not a very good combination to be taken. So like that. So what is the combination of food items? That is also very important. Fourth one is the rashi, that is the quantity of food items. Now, as I told you, an ideal food item should comprise of all the 6 tastes: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, and everything. So in our Indian traditional food, we have a combination of all the 6 tastes. So the quantity of food items, how to decide that to get the desired results, we will be studying in the later sessions in detail. Next slide, please. Fifth one is desha, that is place. So the place where the person lives and where the food grows is also of utmost importance. Like in India, here we have different food grains or food items, or the way of cooking is different according to the country, and in different countries it may be different. So we have to also consider the place where the person lives and what is the food grown there. Likewise, we have to advise what should be taken and what should be avoided. The sixth factor is kala, that is the seasonal changes. So we have a seasonal regimen, which is Rutucharya, which again we are going to study in detail. The dietary habits, they change according to the different seasons and daytime. So right now in India, it is spring season. So for spring season, there is a different dietary pattern. When it will be summer, there will be different. In winter, it is different. Likewise. So we have to also consider the seasonal changes. Next slide. Then the seventh factor is upayokta. Upayokta means one who consumes the food. Now, about food, we have seen that how the food needs to be. But another factor is who is consuming the food, what is the body constitution of that person. Accordingly, the consumption of food may vary. So this also is 7th factor. And the 8th factor is about the Upayoga Samstha, that is the rules of diet. And today's session is all about the rules of diet. So the principles of dietetics and the dietary regimen should be followed. And what to follow? What are the general rules of diet? That we are going to see in the next slide. So next slide, please. So now we go towards the rules of diet, that is food habits. Now we all know that here there are some pictures, very good pictorial representation. Overeating or undereating, both are not welcome. So it should be proper eating, balanced eating. So overeating or undereating may not just be a lack of willpower. Sometimes it's only a bad habit which people don't realize. So which are the they are mentioned here, like skipping meals. It's not advisable, and especially breakfast. Then eating food without properly chewing it. So we should always chew the food properly, then only it leads to proper digestion. Eating meals without feeling hungry. As I told you earlier, the right time of consuming food is when someone is hungry. So that is a main thing. Then munching food in front of favorite TV shows. So that is also not advisable. Then stress eating. Then having dinner late at night. After, like, we consider it after 9 p.m. It's actually not advisable because it's too late. So all the digestion and everything will be affected. Next slide, please. Now here again, some of the rules are again highlighted. To get maximum benefits from good food, it should be consumed following the rules which we are going to study again in the next slide also. And the ancient sages like Acharya Charak, Acharya Sushrut, Acharya Jivaka, they always preferred consuming healthy food in the proper manner and adopting good eating habits, choosing wisely and developing healthy food habits. Next slide. Yeah, now we actually start with the dietary regimen or the rules of consuming the right kind of diet, which we call as Ahara Vidhi. Now, first one is warm food. Food should always be fresh and warm. After cooking the food, it should be immediately consumed. Even reheating is not advisable. So, food should be warm and freshly cooked. Why? What benefits it has? Because it tastes good, it stimulates the digestive fire, it gets digested quickly, and it carbonates the flatus. What is the meaning of carbonates flatus? Means it allows the free movement of the vata dosh from the body. It does not create any obstruction in the movement of vata dosh. So that's why food should be warm. So first principle is food should be warm and fresh. Then the second rule is food should be anxious. Food should contain some amount of oil or fat into it. So it is actually when we hear about no oil and no fat food, it is not, according to what it is described in Ayurveda. Food should contain some kind of anxiousness. So that why it should be like that? Because it stimulates the digestive fire, it helps in the growth and development of body, it increases the strength, it strengthens the sense organs, it gives clarity to the complexion. That's why food should contain some kind of oil or ghee in it. According to the different disorders, we can change the quantity of that oil or ghee, but some kind of oil or ghee is always preferable in while consuming food. Sorry, while consuming food. The third rule is the proper quantity of food. Now, proper quantity of food is what? It depends upon the digestive fire and the body constitution of the person. So when the food is taken in proper quantity, it stimulates the digestive fire, and stimulating the digestive fire is the main part. If we want to remain healthy, we should have a stimulated digestive fire. As soon as the digestive fire is decreased or it becomes low, it leads to the formation of different disorders. So food should be taken in the right quantity, and it also promotes longevity. So long life. It promotes longevity of life. Next slide, please. Then the next is eat when previous meal is digested. Very, very important. Now, someone has consumed, for example, just for example, if person X has consumed meal at 10 o'clock in the morning. So what is now the next time where he should consume the next meal? So the next meal should be consumed when the previous meal which he consumed at 10 a.m. has been properly digested. He is feeling light in the body, and most importantly, he is feeling hungry. So that will be the right time of consuming food. And it will also maintain the balance of dosha, dhatu and mala, and it will prevent the formation of toxins, that is ama dosh in the body. Then consumption of compatible foods. Now, what are incompatible foods that we are going to study today in the later slides? So I will explain at that time. So why compatible foods? Because it maintains health and it prevents disorders. Then favorable place and atmosphere. Now this is something that we have to take care of, because in Ayurveda and in Siddha Ved, there are the psychic disturbances. One of the main positive factor of psychic disturbances is food eaten in unhygienic places or unclean places. So that is also one causative factor of different kinds of psychic disturbances. So food should be consumed at favorable place and a very favorable atmosphere, with a very pleasant atmosphere. So it prevents psychic disturbances and it promotes happiness. Next slide, please. Yes, we have to avoid eating too slow or too fast. The pace or the speed of eating the food should be right. So it should not be too slow, like taking 1 or 2 hours to eat. It should not be like that, or even too fast, like in 10-15 minutes the food is over. So we have to understand and maintain the right speed of food. So eating too fast or too slow, what it will do? It will create digestive disturbances. And then we have to avoid talking or laughing while eating. So this actually, it should be done because food, when it is eaten with full concentration, with our full mind and soul into the food, it is actually, it leads to the health, and it does not create any imbalance in the dosha, dhatu and mala. So actually food should be eaten by not talking and with full concentration on the food. So that we should follow. Then eating after due consideration to the self. So when we are consuming food, it is a connection like between us and the food items, and we have to understand, and with our full mind, body, soul, our senses, we have to connect with the food and then eat it. So what it will do, it will help us to understand what is suitable for us to eat and what is not suitable for us to eat. Next slide. So here again is a case study of Mr. Sunil Pokhare. So Sunil was having digestive issues. Now digestive issues are increasing day by day because of the wrong dietary food habits. So he was also one of them, and he was having digestive issues like bloating, acidity, stomach ache, constipation, and frequently he was having loose motions. And his digestive issues were present for 5 years. So it was really a chronic issue. And he was taking symptomatic medicines for that. Then he came to Ayush Shakti, and Ayush Shakti Vaidya, they studied his case and observed that uh, he was not following the right healthy dietary regimen, and he was actually, when the detailed history was taken, he was eating food while watching TV. Now this is a main thing which most of the people do, and we should be avoided, because again, as I explained, the connection or concentration with the food is lost. And that's why person, he does not know how much food he is eating or what is suitable for him to eat, because the whole attention is into the TV shows, or whole attention into something else. So then he was advised and he was informed about these 8 specific dietary factors, the principles of dietetics, and along with that he was given the right herbs to balance the imbalanced doshas. And then he was advised the right kind of healing path, and his digestive issues, whatever they were, he was suffering from 5 years, they got resolved in 4 months of treatment. And he continued to follow up, and again there was no, most importantly, there was no recurrence of that health problems. So when we advise a healing path, by considering the causative factors, we rule out or avoid the causative factors, then prescribe the right kind of diet and lifestyle, and then also give the right kinds of herbs or detox, then it leads to the uh, cure of that disorder, and then there is also no recurrence of the health problems. So this is a very good case study. Next slide, please. Now we are going to another principle, which is incompatible food, which is about incompatible food, which we call as viruddha ahar. Now, what is the meaning of viruddha? Viruddha means opposite, ahar means food. So here viruddha ahar means incompatible food. Now, when 2 food items they combine, they create a poison in the body. So such food items we call as incompatible food combinations or incompatible food items, which should be avoided, as when we consume such incompatible food items, they create poison in the body, and which that poison, it creates many disorders. So here we can see that on many occasions, consuming 2 food items together, or even more than that, or a particular type of food processing, even the way of cooking, it should also be right. That also can render the food toxic, and that is called as incompatible food or viruddha ahar. So incompatible foods should be considered a type of poison, and they produce a lot of toxins in the body. So foods or activities that cause an increase of dosha but do not expel the dosh out of the body are termed as viruddha. Viruddha means incompatible or opposite, and it leads to armor formation and can create many disorders. So viruddha ahar has been increasing over the last, I think, decade or something. The incompatible food, the trend of incompatible foods has increased. So here we have to understand that incompatible food is about combination also, and the way it is processed also. So the right processing, the right way of cooking also is important, and the right combination of food items is also very important. And this incompatible food, it leads to many kinds of disorders, and one of them is skin disorders. Incompatible food, it creates skin disorders, even the lifestyle disorders like diabetes, hypertension, and many kinds of disorders. So we have to understand. Now we will see what these incompatible food items are all about. So next slide, please. So yeah, just now, as I told you, that many young people or people with good physical strength may at first not see the bad effects of the improper diet. Because see, now a person, if he is consuming incompatible food item today, so immediately tomorrow he may not see the bad effects. It may be seen over maybe some days or months or years, according to the strength of that person, but it will be seen definitely. So consumption of incompatible food items over the years, it leads to the very bad, it leads to the formation of different kinds of disorders. So what it does to the body is, it leads to the degenerative changes and also bad effects like aging. A person, there is a early aging, the aging process, it fastens, and there are also degenerative changes. So next slide please. Yes, so here we see, now we will actually see what are the incompatible food items. So incompatible food combinations, they can cause, now we have to understand, poor digestion, then disturbance of Agni, accumulation of armor, that is toxins, then obstruction of channels, srotas, and vitiation of the dhatus. Next slide, please. So now we will see the list of incompatible foods. So this is a very big list and we have to understand. So any sour substance with milk, sour substance and milk is not a good combination. Why? Because milk is sweet and sour milk, sweet and sour, it creates a very like it leads to a formation of toxins in the body, which we call as armor, or degenerative changes, or the leading cause of skin disorders. Then sour fruits with milk, sour fruits like citrus fruits with milk, that is also not a very good combination. Fish with milk, fish with milk is not to be taken at all, because again a very leading cause of different kinds of disorders. Then consumption of radish along with fish, horse gram, that is lentils with cow milk, drinking milk after consuming green leafy vegetables. So green leafy vegetables someone is consuming and then after that drinking milk, so that is also not advisable. Then chicken with cheese, so now non-vegetarian food, that is a chicken along with cheese, cheese along with dates. Then meat with black gram or honey or milk and germinated grains, this is not a very good combination. Then banana along with buttermilk, again not advisable. Honey with wine of dates and sugar. Now wine of dates and sugar is something we have a formulation in Ayurveda which we call as the Kharjuradi Mantha, it is that thing. Then heating honey, honey should never be heated on fire because it produces toxins, so heating honey. Then turmeric along with mustard oil. Then ghee stored in bronze vessel for over 10 days. So when we store ghee in bronze vessel for more than 10 days, so that is also not advisable. So in Ayurveda, we actually have this principles where which food item should be stored in which vessel, in which kind of vessel, that we have, which we will study later in detail. So ghee should not be kept in bronze vessel for more than 10 days. Then mixing of equal quantities of any 2 or 3 or all of the following is not recommended: honey, ghee, meat fat, then sesame oil and beverages. So now there are actually many more examples of incompatible foods, but we have highlighted here the some of the most prominent ones. So here what we have to understand is the combination of food items. So there are traditional methods of cooking in every country according to the place. As I explained, according to the country, there are different traditional methods of cooking. So that we have to also take into consideration, and these are the general rules which general list of incompatible foods that should be avoided. So we'll go to the next slide. Yes. So here is a case study of Mr. Naresh Kulkarni. So Naresh had multiple health issues. So when he came to Ayushakti, he had multiple health issues like urticaria, allergic rhinitis, indigestion, piles, and he visited many doctors before that, before coming to Ayushakti, and he never had any positive results. So he then came to Ayushakti, and when we found that he had a habit of consuming incompatible food items. So here we have to understand that history taking about the dietary food habits and lifestyle is also important in case of client. We have to have a detailed history about the diet. What is the way of consuming food items, whether it is according to the principles of ancient dietetics, whether the person is consuming incompatible food, everything we should take into consideration. So in his case, we found that he was consuming incompatible foods. And what was that? He used to have ghee and honey, 1 teaspoon in the morning. So combination of ghee and honey together is not advisable. So he was taking that, and it was an incompatible food. And he thought that both of these ingredients were good for his body because he was unaware. Then first, when he came to Ayushakti, he was advised to stop this habit of consuming these two incompatible food items. And he was also given the Ayushakti Healthy Me Detox program to remove the toxins. And Ayushakti Healthy Me Detox program is excellent way to remove the toxins. And it helped him to rectify his dosha and dhatu imbalance. And then it created a balance of the dosh, dhatu and mala. And he was also given herbs, diet and lifestyle changes according to his body constitution and his complaints. And then he had a 90% improvement in only 2 months. This is very nice. He had 90% improvement in only 2 months. And then what happened in his case is we were able to understand the root cause of his health problem. So this urticaria, allergic rhinitis, or multiple health issues, they were mainly due to the incompatible food habits. And when it was avoided, so he was also given, of course, the Healthy Me Detox program. So he was able to achieve positive results, and it helped him. So this is an excellent case study about how incompatible food items they damage the body, or they can give so many health issues. But with the right combination of herbs, detox, and giving the right kind of dietary regimen and lifestyle, we can definitely improve the condition of the person. So this is a very good case study. Next slide, please. Now we will go towards another principle, which is about, as we saw, foods to balance the vata dosh, pitta dosh and kapha dosh. So first we will see the favorable foods to balance vata dosh. Now before that, I want all of you to remind what are the qualities of vata dosh. So everyone, just remind in your mind what are the qualities of vata dosh. Ruksha, that is dry. Laghu, that is light. Shita, that is cold. Tatra ruksha laghu shita khara, that is rough. Sukshma, that is minute. Then chala, that is mobile. It is mobile. Okay. So these are the qualities of vata dosh. Now when we have to balance vata dosh, what is the food item that we will prescribe? So here we see vata is cold and dry in nature. Vata dosh is cold and dry in nature. So warm, nourishing foods with oil are good to stabilize the imbalanced vata dosh. So whenever there is imbalance of vata dosh, we will advise which kind of foods? Foods that are warm, nourishing and with oil, because Vata dosha is dry in nature, na? So we need something that is unctuous, and oil is unctuous and very good. Then second is choose salty, sour and sweet taste in moderate amounts. Salty, sour and sweet taste in moderate amounts to balance Vata dosha. So these are the three tastes, that is salty, sour and sweet, which are important to balance the Vata dosha. Then warm soups, stews and hot cereals are also good. So as Vata dosha is cold in nature, so hot food like warm food, or hot cereals, they are advisable and good to balance the Vata dosha. Then hot water or warm drinks are the best for Vata dosha. Hot water or warm drinks. Then drink hot herbal tea in the late afternoon. Hot herbal tea, and that contains this cinnamon, cardamom, cumin, ginger, cloves and garlic. They are all preferable spices to balance the Vata dosha, because Vata dosha is cold in nature. That's why these spices are preferable. And sweet fruits are also good, because we saw na ki salty, sour and sweet taste, they balance the Vata dosha. So this is the general rule, favorable foods to balance the Vata dosha. These are the principles. We have to apply these principles in the different conditions, and likewise we can advise the right kind of dietary pattern. Next slide, please. Now, favorable foods to balance the Pitta dosha. Now, what are the qualities of Pitta dosha? Again, we have to recollect. Pitta dosha is, first of all, we know, everybody knows, it is hot in nature, sharp, then it is somewhat drava, that is liquid, and visra, then it is hot and sharp. So for balancing Pitta dosha, we need to have foods which are cold in potency. They are best for imbalanced Pitta dosha. So choose cool, refreshing drinks like mint coriander juice or coconut water. They will be good to balance the Pitta dosha, because Pitta is hot in nature. Then cow's ghee is best for Pitta dosha imbalances. Always remember, like in case of Vata dosha, we saw oil is best. Like that, for Pitta imbalance, cow's ghee is the best. So cow's ghee is best for Pitta dosha imbalance. Then, which are the three tastes which are advisable for Pitta dosha imbalance? So they are bitter, sweet and astringent. So bitter, sweet and astringent tastes are advisable in moderate amounts. For Vata dosha, which were the three tastes? They were sour, salty and sweet. In case of Pitta dosha, it is bitter, sweet and astringent. Then here herbal tea, but specifically of mint or licorice root tea. Licorice, we call it as yashti madhu. They are good for pacifying the Pitta dosha. And vegetarian foods in general are the best for Pitta dosha. As consuming red meat, it tends to increase the heat in the body, because red meat is hot in property and Pitta is also hot. So vegetarian foods are recommended that are best for Pitta dosha, and avoiding the consumption of red meat is preferable. Next slide, please. Now, favorable foods to balance the Kapha dosha. Now again, what are the qualities of Kapha dosha? We have to again recollect. Anxious, then cold, Tatra Snigdha Shita, Guru, that is heavy and stable. Like it's not mobile like Vata dosha. Kapha is very stable. So here the food items will be warm, light, because Kapha is heavy in nature. So we have to give light food items, and dry food. Now see, the same combination was warm, was there for Vata dosha also. But here for Kapha dosha, we have to have warm, light and dry food. Okay. In case of Vata dosha, it was warm but anxious food. But for kapha dosh, it is warm, light, and dry foods is favorable to balance kapha dosh. And which are the three tastes that are good to balance kapha dosh? They are pungent, bitter, and astringent. So pungent, bitter, and astringent tastes in moderate amount are good to balance the kapha dosh. So if you just understand, and actually I would recommend that if you learn which are the three tastes which balance the vata dosh, which balance the pitta dosh, which balance the kapha dosh, it will be very good for you to understand the principles and concepts, and likewise advise the different kinds of or follow the different kinds of dietary patterns. And using spices is advisable for kapha imbalances. So spices are advisable because again, kapha dosh is cold in nature. Spices are hot. Preferred spices are cumin, fenugreek, sesame seed, and turmeric. And honey is the best remedy for kapha dosh. Like we saw, again I will just revise. For vata dosh, oil is the best. For pitta dosh, cow's ghee is the best. And for kapha dosh, honey is the best. So these are the principles or general way or general rules to balance the vata, pitta, and kapha dosh. Once we understand these concepts, once we understand these principles, then we can apply these principles in various kinds of disorders. So first, I would suggest that understand each of these principles, and then you think about the different kinds of diets in different disorders. Okay, next slide please. Yes, so again we will revise. Very good slide presentation. Summary of food as per the doshas. Here we see in the first column, it is about dosh. So first dosh, that is vata dosh. Which are the foods that can be eaten or that can be taken or consumed for vata dosh? It is warm food, food with moderate oil, and soft food. And foods to avoid will be bitter, dry food, and cold food. Okay. Then for pitta dosh, which are the foods that can be eaten, light to digest food, then foods with cold properties, and sweet food. And which are the foods that are to be avoided? Heavy food, spicy food, and sour food. And then for kapha dosh, the foods that can be eaten are moderately spicy food, and the foods to be avoided are, in case of kapha dosh, foods to be eaten are moderately spicy food and moderately acidic food, and foods to be avoided are heavy food and fatty food, because kapha dosh is heavy and anxious in nature. That's why. So to maintain a balance, always remember, whenever we are learning these principles, we have to keep one thing in mind, is that we have to balance the state of the dosha, dhatu, and mala. So we have to understand first what has become imbalanced, and likewise then we have to understand from these principles what needs to be balanced. So always remember, the treatment or healing path is all about balancing the dosha, dhatu, and malas. Next slide please. Now we will move towards the very important part again of our session today, is about diet plan for diabetes. Now diabetes, here we see the diet plan is proportion of food as per the category. You see the pictorial representation. Here we can see the vegetables are to be taken 60%, protein 30%, and low carbohydrates 10%. This is the general recommendation. But there is a note here: if anybody has kidney problems, then that person may require more vegetables and less protein. So this is, again I'll say, this is a general thing. Again, the specifications we have to see, and likewise we have to advise, but this is a general principle. So what is the general principle here? Vegetables 60%, the proteins 30%, and the low carbohydrates 10%. Okay, next slide please. Now, what is the in the diet plan for diabetes? What are the foods that can be eaten or that can be enjoyed? So all kinds of cooked vegetables with any spices and very little oil are good, because diabetes is predominantly a kapha disorder. That's why little oil will do. Then leafy salads, and if possible slightly sauteed to reduce gas formation. This should comprise 60% of the diet. Preferably during lunch, only vegetables with low protein should be eaten. These are again the general principles. Vegetarian sources of protein like moong, lentils, tofu, chickpeas, kidney beans, quinoa, and millets like jowar and bajra are vegetarian sources of protein that can be recommended. People who can't avoid non-vegetarian food can have non-vegetarian food like source of proteins like egg whites, chicken, fish, and seafood. And use of more spices in the cooking like cumin, coriander, fennel, saffron, black pepper, garlic, ginger, and asafoetida, it is preferable or advisable. So this is a general diet plan taking into consideration the principles of for diabetes and why the diabetes is caused and everything, taking into consideration all the factors. This is the general principle. Next slide please. Again, what are the general principles for the diet plan for diabetes? Foods to avoid. Now we saw foods to be eaten. Now here are foods to avoid. Now first is food containing wheat or gluten. It has to be avoided. Red meat like pork, then beef, mutton, which contains more fats, is to be avoided. Carbohydrates like rice, potatoes, sugar, fruits, bread, pasta are to be avoided. Noodles are to be avoided. Then yogurt, alcohol, cheese, tomatoes, they are also to be avoided. So these are again the things that should be avoided, that will help in the healing process of diabetes. So actually in Ayurveda it is said that aharohi mahabhaishajya, which is the best or which is the most potential medicine in Ayurveda according to Ayurveda and Siddha Veda. So the answer for that is food. Food is the best medicine, that is explained by the masters. So here avoiding these foods and eating the foods that are advisable will definitely help in the healing path of diabetes. Next slide please. Now home remedy for diabetes. Now here we see the home remedy. Home remedies are actually the best way, and people love home remedies because they can be taken easily, and that is, I think, the main highlighting feature of Siddha Veda and Ayush Shakti, that there are so many effective home remedies, and this is a home remedy for diabetes. So 1 teaspoon of amla powder, half teaspoon of turmeric powder, and 1.5 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds. So taking this daily in morning on empty stomach with warm water is very effective. So this we have seen in a lot of clients, this home remedy, it helps. So this is something that it does wonders in diabetes. So this is a very effective home remedy. 1 teaspoon amla powder, half teaspoon of turmeric powder, and 1.5 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds along with warm water. But when to take it? In morning, empty stomach. Okay, next slide please. Now the yoga and lifestyle for diabetes. Here the different this pictorial representation is also there. The first yogasana is Setu Bandhasan, that is the bridge pose. Then second is the Halasan, the plow pose. Then Dhanurasan, the bow pose, Paschimottanasana, the seated forward fold, and then it is the Ardha Matsyendrasana. So sitting half spinal twist. So these are the yogasana that are advisable. So as we saw that we are seeing the right kind of diet as well as lifestyle and home remedies for diabetes. So first we saw what is the dietary regimen for diabetes. Then we saw home remedy for diabetes. Now we are seeing the yoga and lifestyle for diabetes. So three things we saw: what? Diet, home remedy, the yoga and lifestyle. So these are the yogasanas that are advisable. Okay, next slide please. Now here we have a very interesting, very excellent case study of Prakash Bosamia. So Prakash started treatment in Ayush Shakti in August 2019 for type 2 diabetes, and whatever earlier he was taking treatment, allopathic treatment, it did not help his sugar levels to go down. And he followed the Ayush Shakti herbs and diet regimen for 1 month and observed that his sugar level was more in balance. He stopped following Ayush Shakti recommendations. He was not following the diet and lifestyle for his diabetes. As a result, his sugar count again increased in March, and then he soon decided to join the Ayush Shakti course. And then when again he came to Ayush Shakti, his Ayush Shakti Vaidya advised him healthy me detox. He followed it exactly, and later in his reports it was reflected, and he continued to follow his diet and lifestyle recommendations. So here we can see, so from 2019 August he visited, that the sugar levels are given in the column, and how there is a fluctuations and a decrease in the sugar levels that is seen. So finally in 2020 his fasting sugar and post lunch sugar were quite balanced, which is seen. Next slide please. Here is also evidence of his blood sugar reports, which I think we can see the sugar levels which was shown in the column, they are reflected here. So it is seen in the blood sugar levels, the fasting and the postprandial sugar levels, which we can see. Next slide please. And then eventually whatever was shown in the column from 2019 to 2020, how there were changes. Actually there was a evidence in this blood reports that was seen by following the right kind of, again, the right kind of diet, lifestyle, the detox and the herbs. So actually when there is a combination of these all things and right home remedy and everything, that it definitely creates a balance of dosha dhatu and mala in the body, and it proves to be a very good healing path. And it is also reflected in this reports, which is very good because this is the evidence for that. So excellent case study. Next slide please. Now we will move towards the diet plan for hypertension. Now again, on the same lines as we saw for diabetes, we will be seeing for hypertension. So now here proportion of food as per category will be vegetables 60%, protein 20%, and low carbohydrates again 20%, which is seen here. So again I will repeat: vegetables 60%, protein 20%, and then low carbohydrates 20%. Next slide please. So now we will see diet plan for hypertension. Which are the foods that can be consumed or enjoyed are eating more vegetables and fruits, eating foods which are cool in nature like coconut water, coriander, etc. eat more whole grain foods. So eating more whole grain foods is advisable. Cooked food is better than raw. Raw food is not advisable. Then hot, soft, liquid dishes and soups are better than heavy, dry foods. Then only eat when you are hungry. This is actually applicable in all conditions, not only in hypertension, but food should be eaten only when someone is hungry, as I explained earlier. Then allow enough time, that is minimum 3 to 4 hours to digest food between two meals. Actually, this is the average time. Minimum 3 to 4 hours are required to digest food. So between two meals. So this is the average time. Then next slide, please. Now we see the foods that should be avoided in hypertension. So we have to avoid, first of all, overly oily food. Food that is excessively oily, that should be avoided. Red meat, then whole milk dairy products. This is also to be avoided. Fried food, salted snacks. As we all know that salt and hypertension, they do not go together. So too much of salt and salted snacks should be avoided. Canned soups, fast foods, no tobacco or any product made up of tobacco, no alcohol consumption, and limit sodium from packages. Now this is another thing. Any packaged food, it contains, all the ingredients are written on the packaged food. So the sodium levels we have to check, and likewise we can think about whether to eat that packaged food or not. So the limited sodium levels are actually advisable, and we should be check that before eating any kind of packaged food. Next slide, please. Now we saw the diet plan. Again, we saw foods that should be taken. Then we saw foods that should be avoided. Now we are seeing the home remedy. The home remedy for hypertension. Again, this is a very good home remedy, that is apply cow's ghee to the temple region. Temple region means here. If you can see my video, it is here, temple region. And then massage in small circles 6 times and then press it. So we have to massage in small circles 6 times and then press. Apply cow's ghee. Second one is apply cow's ghee to the crown, that crown chakra. Again, I will show it is here, crown chakra, here. Then third is put 2 to 3 drops of cow's ghee in the belly button. So in the umbilicus, put 2 to 3 drops of cow's ghee. This is the home remedy that I always advise for my clients of hypertension, and it really works wonders. And actually all of the Ayush Shakti Vaidyas, they advise it, not only me, and it actually has great results, like the home remedy for diabetes and also the home remedy for hypertension. It really works very well. So this is a very good home remedy for hypertension. Yes, so we will move to the next slide. Now here is the yogasana and lifestyle for hypertension. So here we see the Shishu asana. Shishu means child. So this is called, that's why it is called as child pose. You can see the picture. That is the Shishu asana. Then there is the Vajrasana. The lady there, diamond pose. It is called as the diamond pose. Then Paschimottanasana. That is the forward bend pose. Then the Shavasana. That is the corpse pose. Actually, Shava means like a dead body. That's why Shavasana is where, we have to relax the whole body and keep it very loose and then concentrate. That's why it is called as Shavasana, best asana for hypertension. Then Sukhasana, easy pose. Sukhasana is also very best. In hypertension, we have to see, yogasana that will relieve the stress and tension from the mind as well as body. So these are the ones which are advisable in case of hypertension. Yes, so we will move towards the next slide. Now here is a case study of Ram Kumar. So Ram Kumar had stress issues starting at a very young age. Now this is also one thing, at a very young age people are getting stressed, and that stress is converting into hypertension and also diabetes and so on. So he had his stress got converted into hypertension, and he was taking medicines for that to control his blood pressure, but he was not seeing any change. So he came to Ayush Shakti, and then when he came to Ayush Shakti, he was recommended balancing his dosha and triguna. Now what is triguna here? So we have studied about sattva, raja and tama, the doshas of the mind, sattva, raja and tama. So when the raja and tama dosh, they increase to a great level, so they create like this hypertension and many disorders. So his stress was increasing due to that. So it helped when his doshas were balanced, and there was a balance created between sattva, raja and tama. It helped to manage the stress level in his body, and after 1 month of treatment he felt refreshed and more energetic. So that is very important. Not only his blood pressure was controlled, but he also felt refreshed and more energetic, and again his blood pressure improved to normal. And whatever he stopped the hypertension medications, of course under the observation of the Ayush Shakti Vaidya, and he followed the diet and lifestyle which was advised, and it helped him to maintain healthy blood pressure. So very important and a very excellent case study of hypertension and how it was controlled by taking into account the dietary pattern, then the ways to help him tackle his stress, and also the herbs and medications. Next slide, please. Yes.
Thank
so
you,
this is
Dr.
yes.
Komal. It was nice, long session, lot of
Thank you.
information. Thank you. Few things to add here. As in the beginning mentioned and explained, to anytime to start with few things, to have more practical approach. You all know your lifestyle and the availability of the food. People are already too much busy in their routine. We don't want to increase their stress to follow these changes, to make these changes and to follow our recommendation. Always you can give them some of the easy tips which you think that this could be the best and easy way to start and to begin. Whichever it is, it may be one or two things. And again, whenever we, any of us, we mention as you have to do this, please consider it little different way. Means understand it is as like a good to do and will be helpful to do. It is not an order, it's just options, possibility and choice. We have like this way of words to use, so please always to consider it in a different way. Here in this time, next like a couple of days, maybe you can have some experience to whom you know that who is suffering from the pre-diabetic or diabetes. Suggest them some changes to make in their food and lifestyle. Some people to whom you know that is suffering from the hypertension, you can tell them to make some changes. You note down the before and after changes. At least we request and recommend to have this exercise, this challenge, at least with 3 diabetic person and 3 hypertension people, and observe and note down the changes. This will helpful to boost the confidence in the system, to boost the understanding more deeper how it works. Yes, thank you. Any questions? Many of Ken's questions are already being answered during the through the chat during the session. By any chance?
Andrea has a question.
Yeah, please.
Hi, namaste, everyone. Hi, Dr.
Namaste. Namaste.
Hemang. So concerning the amounts of time, how long should we chew our food? I saw a video that says we should chew for about 40 seconds. That seemed a bit long. Could you give us some idea?
Yes, it is actually told that, we have to chew our food for like 32 times. So 32 times, it may be like 30-40 seconds, what you are mentioning, but we cannot every time count the number, but at least what you said, yeah, that should be done. And we have to take care, that the food is, it is chewed properly so that, it facilitates the digestion. So that is the main thing. So if it is chewed properly, then it will help. So yeah, that is the thing.
Good question. And again, for this, I suggest and mention that the practical approach, this number of times and number of things were written and mentioned in the scriptures for years before. In today's time, we cannot keep some like a counting, just to have an understanding like it is like a properly chewed and got digested. Depends on the food, which the thing you are eating, chewing. Something may take little more time or something less. The idea is to get food digested, and then only it get absorbed and then produce or convert in the energy. Otherwise, it will produce ama. Yes, please. Yes, Debra. And also Motte, someone, yeah.
Oh, she's gonna do
Yes.
it.
Okay. Hi,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Gaman. So my
Yeah.
question is, can you hear me? My question is in the West, we usually, or at least in the United States, when we tell somebody to go on a low carbohydrate diet, that's to increase the quantity of vegetables and cut back on grains and starches. But here she's saying to take 10% low carbohydrates. I'm not understanding exactly what she's meaning by 10% low carbohydrates.
Good. So normally when we mention like as a percentage of vegetables, always we suggest that to be high. Lots of vegetables to fill our stomach with like a 60 to 70% with vegetables. 20 to 30% we suggest with proteins, means lentils, beans, pulses, maybe tofu, soya, all different possibilities of proteins. And then last 10% we recommend to use and fill with the carbohydrates.
Right.
Carbohydrates considering like whether it's rice or potatoes or any grains kind of where you have the possibility. So carbohydrates is like we always suggest to use less. People most of people, like I would say 10 out of 9 people who are coming to us have some in other way, some challenges with Agni, fire, have a ama, little or more ama. So it is good to reduce reduce carbohydrates.
Okay, so we would normally call that starches and grains.
Yes.
Okay,
Exactly.
thank you very much.
Good, good. Yes.
The other Debra, and then Moidi.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank
Yes.
you. So as I'm thinking about people I know with hypertension, they are also they're also older. And so the exercises given with someone with knee problems or not being able to move, what other things can we suggest, especially for hypertension, for movement?
Yeah,
Just
good.
the yoga poses, the one relaxing the corpse pose, of course, that's doable. But the other ones would not be with knee issues.
Yeah, it is as per the possibility. If there is no possibility, no choice, no. So now, many times we have seen the people are coming with a severe arthritic pain in the knee, and also they have lots of extra weight. To reduce weight, to improve metabolism, it is good and necessary to have some physical activity. But at the same time, because of the pain, severe pain in the condition, difficult movement. So we need to give them first some relief in pain, like make them able to walk or do some physical activity. Then we can recommend some other exercise or some physical activity to do. So we have to again have some actual condition wise recommendation person to person. It is nothing standard recommendation paper document. Similar here in the hypertension, maybe some normally, yes, it is necessary or good to have some physical activity, but the person is unable to do it because any health challenge, it's first we need to help in that part also. So he will or she will be able to do some physical activity, whether it's a yoga, swimming or cycling or fitness center or whatever, walking, normal simple walking. So in just by sitting, they can do some meditation, some ghee massage, some kind of other activities, which will be also helpful to balance blood pressure.
Okay, so thank you very much. I was thinking when I was studying martial arts, and we were taking a time aside for learning how to help people, like if you have an injury, yes, and so you can't do what you were doing.
Correct.
They very little suggestions. I guess what I'm asking is, I don't understand the yoga positions and the purpose behind each one. And if I did know that, I would be able to convert something into a sitting position for a person. So I guess my question is, do you have recommendations on where I could go look to understand the yogic positions better? Because I have no idea about yogic positions.
Yeah, so okay, correct me if I have understood correctly or not. Tell me that you want like some specific yogasan. Which yoga is good? Which yoga posture is good for hypertension? Is that your question?
Okay, so we have 4 of them here. And if I could find a resource to discover exactly what that position does in the body, I might be able to figure out what it does from a seated position, what a person could do to accomplish that.
So normally we recommend that if possible to have like a proper individual guidance from the expert for yoga, for fitness center. Here we can give a general idea, general guidance, general information.
So connecting with someone who actually teaches
actually teaches, because in the specific case, when it is a challenging, the multiple challenges are there, then it is good. Like not to go with the general information. Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Welcome. Yes, Mojde and group, Joseph. Yeah, you have.
So I wanted to ask, like you mentioned that the stomach should be 1/3 solid, 1/3 liquid, and 1/3 empty. So that means that every single meal should have the 1/3 liquid, which is soup. So this means every meal should have soup in it.
Yeah. It can be soup or liquid or tea or water or something, warm water or something. So the idea is to have a mixture of solid and liquid, and to leave some space to churn the food. So then it will be easy to get food digested. is a normally Ayurveda says that the mixture of the different taste of food. It's not only to have the sweet or only sour or only salty. When you have the mixture of different tasty food, similarly, the different form of the food also necessary for the body to maintain the health and the stability and all the nutritions to receive.
Yeah, because I was taught like since I was little, like it's like water, like you shouldn't mix water with food.
Yeah.
So is it like for the cold water
No,
specifically? Or?
if you consider if you are having like a soup, the best lentil soup also is a liquid. If nothing, just warm tea, like some tea, ginger tea, black tea, green tea with water or with food, some or nothing, then we can at the last we can have some warm water. That should be some amount in between to get food digest to help the churning process.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Can I
Yes.
ask something? It's just to make something clear. There was a slide where it was written that ghee and beverage, ghee, honey, and different things couldn't be mixed together. And on this line, there were ghee and beverage. How should I understand that? Because I personally, I mix ghee with hot water. And when I do like almond milk with cardamom and a mix, I always add ghee. So how is that to understand that ghee and beverage shouldn't go together?
Good question. So normally Ayurveda says that ghee and heat should not go together directly. So especially heat. Heat. Ghee.
Heat. So to be clear, that means so far what I've been doing with putting ghee in hot water is a no-go, and putting ghee in I don't know what it's
It
called.
is like yes, it is like ghee. You cannot mix it like cold drinks or like that. There are soft drinks
Wait.
or something like that. Soft drinks or something that mixing that with ghee is not good. Ghee with water is okay. Hot water is right, but ghee with some cold drinks or some like hot we call it coffee or something, tea, that is not advisable. Along with that, ghee is not advisable like that. But whatever you are saying, with warm water you can take ghee, that is okay. With plain warm water you can take, but not with any other drink like coffee or like cold drinks or like that. Combination of the two is not right.
And with some herbs, herbal tea with ghee, because that's what I'm doing actually. Also.
Yeah, herbal tea, then we will actually ghee we advise along with herbs after taking herbs as a anupan. After taking herbs, we advise ghee as a anupan after taking that. That is, we are going to study later in detail how and why. So at that time you will know how it is. So whatever you are taking ghee with the decoction, so we will along with the herbs, it's okay. But along with the aerated drinks or with like the alcohol and all, that is not advisable.
Okay, so I understood. So the mix that I'm doing with milk, vegetable milk, cardamom, curcuma, and to put ghee, that's fine. That's all good.
Yeah,
okay,
that's fine.
Thank you.
Yes.
I guess that she was actually also referring to this one slide where it says specifically that mixing of equal quantities of any of or all of the following items, and that would mean you should never have the equal amounts. So that's different than what Dr. Kamal was just saying. So pay attention that it's not the equal amount. It's the same with ghee and honey. You should never mix in equal amounts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay, we have Jan and Mary.
Yes.
Yes, Jan.
Yeah, I'm there. Hello.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise. All my friends from India. I don't know much about yoga. How long would you suggest to keep each pose?
actually, yoga is according to the breathing techniques. It is about every pose. What is yoga is all about? It is about the breathing techniques. So any position we do in yoga, it is about inhaling and exhaling. So there are certain methods, like when we go down, then it is exhaling. When we come up, it is inhaling. So that has to be done under the proper guidance of someone, there is a yoga teacher or something. So that they will suggest. So it is upon the breathing technique. How long can you hold your breath? For that long, you can hold that pose. So the time you cannot hold the breath, then you have to leave that pose. So yoga, always remember, it is about connected with the breathing movements. It is not about just the movement of the body. Yoga is all about inhaling, exhaling, holding the breath, and that has to be done under the guidance of a proper yoga teacher. And it will be different. The holding the time will be different for each individual according to the breathing patterns. So I think that.
Thank you.
Good. Good. Yes, Mari. And Zafi.
There you go. Go ahead.
Hi, I actually have a question. My brother had a kidney transplant, and so what would I advise him? He's really obese. What would I advise him for? Is there a special diet for kidney transplant recipients?
Yeah, renal type.
Yeah, we have the specific recommendation for the kidney people. The person who has some kidney concerns, kidney problem, kidney challenges related kidney, we give some specific diet plan to avoid particular things accordingly. It's a which kidney problem, like a creatinine is high, urea is high, albumin is high or less. Accordingly, we give. So if you saw us the detailed report, we like any of doctor like maybe can give you more specific guidance.
Okay, well, I don't know. He's an MD, so I don't know if he's going to be open. I was just going to give him some, suggestions. But
You should have said that first.
Yeah, I know. But he actually has his wife gave it to him because he was getting dialysis for years or he would have died. So he's really lucky to have that. But he's not taking care of himself.
Yeah, we have like the other cases who came with the high level of the creatinine. The kidney function was very low. After following certain diet regime and following the home remedies, some Ayurvedic supplements, together with like a kidney dhara, there is a treatment, oil pouring on the kidney part of the body, and those all these things have helped to improve kidney function. And
Okay, you can do kidneys.
they're advised for the kidney dialysis, but now they don't need it because of the such treatment.
Yeah. He doesn't use dialysis anymore, but okay, I'll just try to get him to get an appointment. But,
so it is possible like this way, if we can, it can be done properly in the proper, like a protocol way. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Good. Welcome. Yes, Andrea.
Hi, Dr. Hemang. Can I consume ghee by the teaspoon without the water? Say I'm on the road and I can't get to hot water. Can I just take it by the teaspoon throughout the day? Is that okay or no?
Yeah, I think, yes, it is fine. It can be, it can be okay. Maybe you can drink some water, warm water later, not immediate on like a long way or together. Maybe you have possibility later on before eating or having anything else. So some not necessary just water, maybe like something to drink warm. So to get, the idea is always to get things digested, not to produce ama. Not necessary to take immediately that time. Yeah, good question. Nice. Yes, Mari.
I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
People who are very busy, especially in the Netherlands, where the whole food system is otherwise, you have to tempt them to this way of eating. And the confession is that I use the help of the food not longer than 1 day in the fridge, freezing, and after defreezing, defrost, you add some ghee and some spices again.
Yep.
And that is what I have to use to tempt nurses who say, I want to, Marie, I see changes, I see you, I hear you, I want to, but it's so difficult, I'm so afraid. So I started already without knowing from the challenge from this week with a nurse who is really, really too heavy. And not because you say she's too heavy, but you see the body is just in problems. And then I said, after treatment, a bowl of soup she enjoyed, but this tastes good. But yes, I can't make it. I don't have time. I said, no, please begin getting used to the food. So I gave her 7 boxes where you can make 2 portions after defrost, 1 for soup and 1 for khichdi. But khichdi, that must be a big problem. No, you do this, you do that. And then I got pictures that same day. Look, I made khichdi. I said, good girl. And now she came to turn in her boxes, and I gave 7 new ones because she wants to see Dr. Hemang, but I won't be able to do that diet. How? Now she is used to the diet, and she says, I want to tell you something. I lost 2.7 kilos because she is over the 108 kilos. And my socks don't make those things, those bandage in my feet anymore. She has heart problems. She has, how do you say it, insufficient heart rhythm and kidney problems. And she is pre-diabetic, sowieso. And I want to make the confession that I use that system of putting in the fridge, because otherwise I don't have a chance with
Exactly.
a lot of people.
Exactly. It is a good way. And that is what we want to tell everyone, to find a simple way to inspire them, to let them to begin with something. All the informations are for your understanding and knowledge. Now to find some technique, like which one be the easy for them, how to it's difficult. Now there is a question that is mung soup what's the question was last question? Can we freeze mung soup? Normally not, but at least if the person is eating all time meat, and if he is ready to start mung bean soup, even it is a freezed one, that's okay. We cannot say them straight away that to start the fresh mung bean soup every day to cook and eat, enjoy. No, first let him to comfortable with the taste and things and with the easy way, and then to go to the next level. Then we can tell them, oh, now it is good if you can cook the mung soup twice a week. Then maybe we can tell them, oh, okay, now alternate, then the every day, something like that. We can step by step, we give them possibility for anything. It's just an example.
Yes.
Now many times we have people saying, we many times we say that avoid meat. So now there is a question, which meat? Okay, you start first avoiding red meat, at least to begin with. Then maybe after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you can reduce some other meat. Then again we can tell them, okay, if you are feel happy and comfortable, you reduce fish, then you reduce this, then you reduce this. By the time they will experience some result, then we don't need to push them. Pushing will not work for longer time. They will leave us. They will stop everything. They will not start anything, because it's everywhere in the world. Everyone is busy, and especially no one is used to eat mung soup and ghee and this. No one used to with this stuff. So for them, it is a big challenge. Good, good. Nice question, nice session. Good information. Yeah. Yes, Jaina. Good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you guys too. I just wanted to say this is, hi guys. What a beautiful session. And Dr. Kamal, you did such a beautiful job explaining it. I so appreciate this. It's just been on my heart that it's been so difficult to share this. You know, people get through the mung beans, you know, the detox, and then how do they transition? And how do we use the doshas to be able to transition? And so this is so perfect. It was such on my heart. This week I've had many conversations with different people about this topic, and it's so timely. And I just look forward to exploring, you know, this food is pitta, this food is, you know, vata, and when you combine it, it does this. And I'm just so thrilled. And I just wanted to say thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful presentation. So great to see all the people that know each other and the connection and the excitement. It's so fun to see that. So great. Okay, I'll be done. I'm just gushing. I love you all.
Nice,
Thank you so
nice.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for good and kind words, Dr. Kamal. Good. Yes, anyone? Yeah, Mari, you have something else to say?
Yes, not to answer now, but just
please.
asking if the subject can be talked over maybe further in the course about food, because when you talk to a grown person, you can explain and take your time and invest, but babies don't eat themselves.
Yeah.
And I have 2 granddaughters, and both suffered from hidden, how do you say it? I looked it up, hidden reflux. And that is a problem that the doctors, as most problems, excuse me, don't recognize. So my daughter was lucky that the nurse who came to the house said this baby has hidden reflux, because you don't want to know what they do. All this, how do you say it, for the acid, they just start giving the babies to stop the acid. And I learned every body part has a different acidity for the enzymes to work. So if you start stopping the acid, you are blocking the whole digestion. And I want to know how Siddha Veda would say how the mother can eat properly, because in the regular medicine, they say, oh, don't worry, that's so old, man, just so old knowledge. No, you can eat everything. And some people go good, some ladies and their babies, but some children, you see the problems occurring after the mother has had food that's too hot or too pungent or too this. So I would like to hear about that further in the course for how to handle with babies and toddlers, because they don't choose.
Yes, that is there in the sessions afterwards.
Okay.
This was just the part 1 of diet and lifestyle.
I know.
We have further,
Yes. Good. Next session, next week, next Saturday, we will have a meeting with mentors again. Next Saturday, 16th April, everyone will meet to their mentors. Again, like last month. So please, maybe you will be receiving and hearing many different stories, and you may have some questions. Next week, again, the same time. And before going, there is a question from Majde or someone, Joseph or Helen. Yeah.
Good. For me, yeah.
Please.
I have another question. Like with the diet. So many times I try to quit meat, and I quit like when I didn't know what's around, and then I realized, no, I have to go back to meat. And now I quit meat, and I was on Moon, I was doing all the things, and I was still like feeling something is missing, but I really quit meat. It's not a problem here. I have the willpower to do it. But when I had chicken again, I was like, oh, my body was like, oh, I need that. And it's kind of something that makes me, I don't know, happy, that I have more willpower when I eat meat. And I know if it's really like, if you have experience with this, because I don't have the impression that I can't do it. I can, but something is still missing.
This happens many times with many people, that when they stop eating, it's not only feeling missing, but many times they lose lots of weight the moment they stop. But it is always to stay firm, confident, stable, not to restart again. It's a matter of some weeks. Then it gets stable. Then body will change the habit. The body will get used to with the new food, new things. Need to give some time. Maybe 6 weeks to 8 weeks to give time with the different food. Not to, like, many times it's a challenge. It's like a exam of the mindset, how much strong you are. Many times, many people, oh, I can't. I lost just 7 kilograms just in the 2 weeks. Oh my God, it's too much. I have lost my muscles. I can't eat this mung bean. This is a protein. I can't take soya. I can't take this. My body needs lots of protein. But still, if you stay strong, it will help. It needs some time. And that time we need to give some sort of other supplements which can be helpful to maintain the energy level. Because sometimes people don't eat enough as per the requirement, as per the body need, then they lose the energy level. It's not only about losing weight or mindset or mind frame too, but more to balance energy, give them support mentally, emotionally. Okay, wait for some days, will be all right. Some marma point you can give to make emotionally more stronger. On the right hand side, 7 number point, it's emotional marma, emotional support marma, to improve confidence and belief. For better grounding and stability, it is very useful. So altogether works very well. Good question. This happens many times, not sometimes.
And because what you said is that really hits, but for me it was after many months, almost a year, that I realized, oh, if I have chicken again, I feel better. So I think it was because something was missing. That when you said
many months, it should not happen. Yeah, after many months, it should not happen normally. But now, after this detox, you can share your experience. Maybe the detox will make a big change in your system, that then it won't happen. Then you won't have this temptation or the missing feeling, maybe. Mostly. But if it is happening, then we need to work. We need to check the metabolism system, maybe somewhere something is missing. Normally after 6 to 8 weeks, it get it all right, perfect. Then body accept and settle with the new system.
Okay, because I eat meat, actually it gives me a sensation of groundedness, the meat, which I don't have with any other things besides the bad news. The bad news ground me really fast. But yeah, the meat is something that I'm really used to ground, and yeah. So
maybe after this detox, you can tell us that what's happening, what is the situation, what's the status.
Okay.
If still, then yeah, maybe then we need to work differently. And so yeah, good challenge for us.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Nice. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. Wonderful and long session. Nice. Thank you. Next session we will have with mentors. Everyone will see and meet and talk to them personally. Thank you. And yes, Jaina.
Can we unmute and
Yes.
say I love you?
Yes, I
I
love
love
you.
you and I'm with
I-
you.
Love you, Dr. Hemal. Love you, Dr. Kamali. Love you, Mary. Love you, Sam. Love you, Joseph. Love you, Marie. Love you, Kim.
All
Love you,
with you
Nadia.
all.
Love you, Minnie.
you, and I'm with you.
With you.
Love you, and I'm
Love
with
you,
you.
Deborah.
Love you.
Love you. Love you.
I'm with you.
Love you, Elsa.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you.
Thank